This time it's replacing a fork seal without the use of specialist tools. First thing first, obviously we've got to disassemble the bike. We get the rear up on the pit stand before we do some work on the front, get all the bodywork off, and that then allows us to get access to the front yoke, or triple tree as Americans like to call it, so we can get the front stand up. And from there on it's a simple procedure of removing the front wheel and of course the fork. We only need to remove one fork on this occasion. So we've got a leaky fork seal, this one, so I need to replace it. So what we need to do, undo the nut at the bottom, we'll need a jug as well. So, right, so this come undone. Sometimes, because this is attached to the other end of the fork on the inside, sometimes this whole thing will spin and you can't undo the nut. So what you can do is you can use a drill, spin it off. If you try and compress the fork, that'll help too, to give you some resistance. But if you're lucky, it'll come undone. I don't know if this one is, whether it's just spinning yet. So tell. The drill's a really good way, because that'll always do it. It did. Okay. Right, so we do it in reverse. That, hope you've shoved it in there. This means it's so quick it will undo. Compress it slightly and there you go. That's come undone. So just going to do this the rest of the way. Now once you do this, once this is undone, if you can see it in there, look closely, it's come undone. It will drop straight out and we're immediately followed by a ton of oil. That's why we need the jug. So we'll lose some fork oil doing this. But because it's new oil, it's in there, we don't want to waste that. So yeah, it's going to drop. Just going to go like that. And then the oil's going to come. See how clean the oil is. It's new. The dust cover we need off. It's quite a new dust cover, this is. Try and just prise that off. There we go. There we are. Inside here we've got a clip. We just need to prise that clip out. See the ends of the clip that's there. Sometimes little buggers to get out. There it goes, that's the clip out. So now we've got all those out, we can actually remove it. And what we can do is we can use the fork to break itself apart by just doing this. Doing this. Oh, there you go. So that's the fork seal off. Oh, that's the old one. There you go. That's all rigid, it is stiff actually, so I'll stick it out of the way. So what's come out of is these, this is a brass bush, that's going to go back into the groove in there, see that's come out a bit, so we're going to get that back in, then we're going to sink that on and then this retaining washer and then the new seal. Now they do proper slide hammers to do this, but you can actually use the fork itself as a slide hammer. So if you're not lucky enough to have proper slide hammers, you can actually make them yourselves using bits of old piping and a Jubilee clip, somewhat amazingly. So what you do So we've got to reset the bush first. So to reset the bush, slide this one over to not right at the bottom, most of the way down like that. And you can see that lines up with the bush. And the other one, this one goes over the top, like that, for this instance, okay? Because we're hitting the centre of the bush. Now we'll reverse this, and I'll show you why shortly. And then we've got the Jubilee clip, which is going to retain them. So let's put the Jubilee clip on first. And we're going to use this as a slap hammer then to push the bush back in before we then do the seal. Okay. So there's the mess. Okay. Should just about go. Now I'll tighten this up as tight as I can possibly get it. And I'm going to use this as a slap hammer then to put the bush back in. You see the bush? That's it, see the bush is back in. See that? So that's half the job done. Pull this off. So we're going to put the retaining washer back on, slide that gently down. Now it's holding, covering the bush, protecting the seal from the bush. See that? So we now have our new fork seal. Just put that, rest that there for a second. I've got a couple of attempts at this, we've got 2 fork seals, so cock it up so much. Of course there's no tear strip. This is just some grease, assembly grease for the forks. Right. So I'm just going to daub some of this. And daub some on the seal itself. But also it's a good idea to smear it onto the forks also. Yeah. Put a bit around there, and then inside the fork. Yeah. So that's all the way around there. It's just to help it slide on so it doesn't get damaged as it's going onto the fork, basically. Okay, so carefully slide it on. Okay, and you will find it will go so far, but it won't go all the way down. Okay, it won't seat properly. You've got to seat it so that you can see the groove that the little retaining spring that we took off first goes in. So how do we seat it? We do basically reverse what we did before. So we're going to put a narrow one on, and the broad one is actually going to be sticking out from that like that. And then you see how that's sticking out, and then there's a gap, and that means that it doesn't apply pressure to the edge of the seal. It's hitting the centre of the seal evenly and driving it downwards. So that's where we'll set it up. So let's put the retaining clip on once again. So again, this is overlying, try to get as even as it can. So it's overlying this time, rather than sitting under. Yeah, see that? Let me slide that down to, let's see. So a reasonable amount of leverage. I'll go to about there. You probably find it gets, you have to adjust this a few times because we've applied the grease. It'll probably slide. Very likely. How's that get it? And out. And that's it. It's in. You can see the groove. Yeah. See that? Yeah. You can see the groove all the way around. Where this retain. Well, that obviously retains the spring. So that's gone in easy. A bit too easy actually. Never like the too slack. It probably means it's going to fucking leak. Probably. No. See what happens. Anyway, pull this off. Got a nice new retaining spring. A couple of them. Just get one out. Shiny. So drop that in. And then this should just click into the groove. There we go. So it's going in there. Just grab that edge with these. And that's it. Just check that it's going all the way around. Now I'll do the click. And that is our new fork sealing. Easy as that. Now we have got to undo the cap because we've got to pour the oil back in. It all dropped out the bottom. And where's our bolt? Has it gone in there?
Yeah.
Okay. Messy business. There's our bolt. So what we can do now versus really lucky, this will catch first time and we'll be laughing. Let's go in. Doesn't need to be mega tight, it needs to be pretty tight. Obviously you have to go mad with this and it'll just spin around if you go too tight anyway. So that's just screwing down. That's just screwing down there now. So we can press this fork slightly. Now do this up a bit. That'll do. So now we've got a fully assembled, resealed fork. Trouble is, there's no oil in it anymore, or there isn't much. Set that on there. I'll undo this. Which is now more difficult because it's bloody grease. It's got grease on it from putting the fork on. But we ain't got a bit loose anyway, haven't we? So there we go. These aren't super aggressive forks, so they don't. The springs aren't that hard, so they don't go poof, like a grenade or anything. So you've got to put a bit of force on to go back in. Let's slide that down. Right. And then the oil we've just taken out, because it's good oil, it's new oil, it's only been in literally about a couple of weeks. Straight back in. Make sure you don't cross-thread these. They're absolutely buggered together. Once it starts, it's usually easy. And we get it fairly tight. We can always tighten this once it's back in the clamp, clamped to the bike. Once again, we've got height right. You can give this a good tighten because obviously the bike's then holding it for you. Just get so it's down. Oh well, all back together. Oh, dust cap's the only thing, isn't it? We haven't put the dust cap back on. So we haven't got a spare dust cap. This one's fairly new and it came. This one's again something we replaced recently. So we'll just give this a clean. Stick it back on. Nice. We'll have flatten, just a bit of finger pressure will look these in. If they don't, then it's like a rubber mallet. You shouldn't use anything hard on it. Just give it a tap with a rubber mallet or a grip. Obviously you don't use some hard metal on this. Just want it to gently sit down, so you're not tapping it hard, swinging at it. Just a bit of a tap, and that's that. Done. Not so bad, was it?
Nope.
Nope. And now, just remains to reassemble the bike. Now of course you simply reverse the disassembly procedure to put the whole thing back together again. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video and found it useful. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, thank you very much for watching.